Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. It's time for the bulk reviews for the 30th of October, 2019. Well, that week, this whole week. We're still in the week, all right? Anyway, better known as the dOOKIE-fAT-sTACK. All right, let's get started on some of these comics, guys. First, of course, the comics that I already reviewed. So I've got individual reviews for these comic books. Then I'll actually do some miniature reviews of some other comic books that I've read this week. So we've got Joker, Killer Smile. This was the Jeff Lemire book, Andrea Sorrentino, Jordi Belair. My God, man, this was amazing. I actually had somebody stop me, brand new listener, brand new viewer, stopped me in a Walmart in Mississauga like, holy crap, Comic Book University? I'm like, well, I didn't bring that with me, but I'm Professor Bill. And yes, what do you call it? Just, he's like, oh my God, your review of this was spot on. It was so good. And he's like, the next book that I want to get into, this one right here, Harleen. Yeah, of course. And I told him, I was like, dude, I hate to tell you this, but this was actually better. Wow, this was just amazing. This is Stefan Sajic. And it's just, God, like, guys, I'm just going to point out, like, this is his first time actually writing an entire 3-issue book. It's actually more like a 6 because these are double-sized books. But just look at the art inside here. You can't beat this freaking art. You could try, but, good luck. Genuinely good luck. This is an amazing book. Absolutely love this. Go check out the individual review if you're not sold yet, and then go and actually buy the book because wow and wow. All right, let's move on to a couple other books that I've done. DCeased, issue number 6 of 6. There's no way this is the end. And they could, of course, they could end anything anywhere, but this was made so that it could continue. There are more than enough dead people still alive and alive people still alive in order for them to continue on with the story. I just hope it doesn't get completely out of control like Marvel Zombies did, because Marvel Zombies really, really got freaking out of control. That brings me to Marvel Zombies Resurrection. Oh my God. This was out of control good. I pointed out in my individual review that this one issue of Marvel Zombies Resurrection was better than the entire first volume of Marvel Zombies. And I say that, I'm saying it again days later. Because wow. And that first volume was amazing. That was revolutionary. Nobody saw something like that before. And now this is well thought out. Could be based off of that. It could very well be based off of that. And man, I'm just saying, this was really good. Really good. So let's drop these guys over here. Let's pull out some other books. We got Venom, issue number 19. Individual review. Was not a huge fan of this book. Was still really good, still really fun, but this was mostly just a recap issue, and it sucks because I think the issue before was also something of a recap issue, and that's recap of all of the Absolute Carnage books and all the tie-ins and everything that happened also. This is just putting everything, I guess, in a timeline order, which is cute, not necessary though. We already had 2 DC Black Label books up there. Here's a third one. There's a lot of them out this week. This is The Last God, Book 1, the Fellsphere Chronicles. I don't know how you pronounce this, but Philip Kennedy Johnson. This is pretty good. He's actually got 2 books out this week. Which was the other one? Anyway, this didn't start off as good as I was hoping to. The art is out of this world. Holy crap. But, as far as the story itself, we're just not there yet. And if that's the case, they should have made this your standard Black Label, where it's a giant-sized book where we could have had 2 issues in one to actually get something to read. But I guess they just didn't have a lot of faith in an entirely new comic book being made and put in the Black Label, for Black Label prices. So, is what it is. Silver Surfer Black, issue 5 of 5. This was the hands-on favorite for the way that it ended. What I'm saying is the concept of how it actually ended, I think that everybody said, well, it's probably going to end like this, or at least it could end like that, but will Donny Cates go with that easy ending? I'm going to give him some slack. Just got married. You know what I'm saying? So, is what it is. We also got Red Goblin, issue number 1 of 1. There's a one-shot. That's pretty cool. Lucky me. I got my hands on another Red Goblin figure. Do I have my other one up here? I still got my other one up here. Right in between Carnage and Arnim Zola. But yeah, so I got another one because I just saw it in the wild, so I just bought it. Like, yay. So I can actually use that for a trade later on. I'll probably hold this for like a couple of months and then do a trade for another figure that's new that I just can't find. Anyway, so yeah, Red Goblin, this was good. This was, I believe, 3 short stories in here. The first one freaked me out. It was like, dude, this belongs in an actual horror comic book. The other 2 were just, you know, the second one was okay. The third one was out of this world, man. Really good. Let's talk about the Superior Spider-Man, issue number 12. This ends the series, and he goes back to being regular old Dr. Octopus again. It kind of bums me out because, man, what a good series. An amazing character, and they just kind of... I'm going to get the Valiant comics now, both of them. Bloodshot issue number 2 was out of this world. Holy crap, this is an amazing character. If you've never experienced this character, and yeah, that's right, experienced this character, not read or seen or heard about, experienced, you're missing out. Go back and grab issue number 1. It's already gone to reprint, like, what do you call it, on the day that it was selling for the first day, that Wednesday last month. They already said, wow, it's selling so well, we need to put this into a second print. So you can get issue number 2, all right, or issue number 1. You can go out and get issue number 2 also. Excuse me. Also, there are plenty of variants out there, so there should be plenty of these. It might go to second printing also. I don't know, but guys, with the movie coming out, wow. Also, Roku. This is also from Valiant Comics. This is a character who I've never heard of before, and all of a sudden, bam. If you guys got the opportunity to see the Bat in the Sun Valiant, I think it was Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe. Wow, this character was in it, and it was amazing. It was superb. Bat in the Sun is awesome, all right? I am a patron supporter of Bat in the Sun because it is just one of the best freaking channels out there. They have actual acting, real people playing these characters, these licensed characters, and just doing their own scripts and stuff like that. And it's really good stuff. They have a lot of cool versus battles, like Joker and Harley versus Deadpool and Domino. They have a whole bunch of really good ones out there. Batman versus Wolverine. Wolverine versus Wonder Woman and versus the Predator, a whole bunch of really good stuff. They even bring in like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the actual Jason David Frank, the White Ranger, the original White and Green Rangers, Lord Drakon himself. He actually goes and reprises roles sometimes, and he just did that one where he actually plays Bloodshot. It is amazing. With the movie coming out, this thing oh man, that was so good. You guys got to go and check those out. Speaking of Patreon, by the way, you can check me out on Patreon, where every month I put out at least one video review. So I will take some superhero movie. I just finished Batman vs. Superman. You got my take on it with a little bit of good stuff in there added in. But what do you call it? Yeah, go and check that out. Please support me below. I make more money off of your $1 a month than I do off of any advertisement that you're going to watch. Although it would help if you actually watch the ads also. It would help. Anyway, back to the bulk reviews, the dOOKIE-fAT-sTACK. Excalibur issue number 1. Every time that one of these Dawn of X books comes out, every week there's a new one coming out, I do a live review where I talk about it, and at the end of the conversation, I will talk to you guys. I'll check out your questions that you put in. I'll scroll through and see if I can see them. If it's a super chat, I see it right away. But yes, so I actually do the all soliciting, right? Hey, guys got to make a living. So anyway, I will do these live. So that's midnight on Tuesday night, technically Wednesday morning. Before the comic book actually comes out to everybody else, I get a hold of the Dawn of X books, and I do a live review of those comic books. This weekend, or excuse me, this coming midnight, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, there's actually going to be 2 Dawn of X books dropping. I will be reviewing them both during the same live chat. So go and check those out. Very informative. People are... Comic Book University alumni are very happy to be a part of those, and I'm more than happy to be there because it's fun doing those. Issue number 1 of A Basketful of Heads. This is a Hill House. This is also Black Label. There it is up there. There's also Black Label. I usually don't do horror comic books. I usually don't. It's not that I don't have the stomach for it. It doesn't, pique my interest. You know what I'm saying? And I'm more eclectic horror. My favorite horror series of all time is the Phantasm movies. I know. A bunch of people are like, what? Bite me. I love the Phantasm movies. Even the weird ones, all right? But this, holy crap. This is so dialogue driven. If you want to come, and there was no murder in this or anything like that, you want to get something that just seems right off the bat like, what am I reading here? But then afterwards, just they will suck you in and you will know these characters well, and you actually want to feel bad for these characters when they eventually do start dying, because I'm imagining they're going to start dying soon. These are characters you can get behind, that you understand their motivations. Joe Hill is a freaking comic book guru god to be able to write like that. That blew me the hell away. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, issue number 13. I don't know why so many people are against Tom Taylor. Y'all need to get your heads on straight. This is a really good book. This is this was just fantastic. They had the Fantastic Four members in this, plus Spider-Man, and it genuinely felt like every single one of them had a moment to shine. All of these characters were played to their strengths. It wasn't written dumb. It felt like Chip Zdarsky or Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were actually making this book. That is praise to the highest. Yeah, Taylor did a great job. If Tom Taylor were to finish doing his Spider-Man run and decide to do a Fantastic Five run with these 5 characters, I would read the hell out of that book, because he gets these characters, and he, like I said, all the characters got to play to their strength. That was great. Dead Man Logan, issue number 12 of 12. It was a good enough series. Somebody almost got booted from my channel because they started using Comicsgate terminology to describe the book. We don't play that game here, peeps. We don't play that game. What do you call it? Even if you don't like the book or the art or the writing or whatever, still at least be a little bit respectful to the people who put their hearts into it. It's one thing to not like somebody's work. It's another thing to make a personal attack on somebody. Like, come on, guys, grow the frick up. Anyway, almost slipped and got angry there. So anyway, issue 12 of 12, it did not end in a great way. It did end, however, with Sabretooth versus Wolverine. Regardless of what some may say, I don't believe that's played out. I believe it's the natural order of things. It doesn't make sense for it to end. This is one of the biggest problems that I had with the way that the death of Wolverine went. Charles Soule wrote that. It was a good way to end it. It went back to, him trying to stop the whole Weapon X program from starting up again. Really cool. But how exactly did it not end with him versus Sabretooth? How did it instead end with Sabretooth on a leash? Like, what the hell? Excuse me. And I believe that was for Viper, right? Like, come on, man. Come on, man. So it was actually Sabretooth versus Wolverine, the way to end this, and I dug on that. I definitely dug on that, because it's just, it's poetic. It's the way it's supposed, it's the way of the world, damn it. So here we go. Jeff Loveness doing Tales of the Dark Multiverse, the Death of Superman. Look, man, I have praised the hell out of Jeff Loveness before for his Judas miniseries. This guy has a way of writing that blows me away. I had a whole bunch of recommendations to read other Jeff Loveness books, and I genuinely, from my heart, appreciate those. There is no but to that. I appreciate those. Thank you. Because, yes, I want to go back and just soak up everything that Jeff Loveness has written, because, like, this book was amazing. Amazing. Judas was amazing. The way that this guy writes, man, it's like he writes it with your heartstrings. Just, there we go. And it's like, I love this book. Oh my God. It makes it like, this is Lois Lane becoming Superman in a good way. And she messes up tremendously, but she does so out of grief. Can that be forgiven? Nah, you still got to be persecuted. The law typically persecutes. You still got to be prosecuted by the law, all right? But the point is, what she did actually made sense. Damn, that was good. Okay, let's get talking about the books that I haven't actually done individual reviews for. Let's start off with a DC 100-pager, Ghosts. We got all sorts of ghostly characters in here. So, Living Lightning versus a Demon was interesting. We've already seen some of these before. Some of these are new stories. That's the most important part here. So we're featuring Batman, Wonder Woman, Zatanna, Deadman, Spectre, Black Lightning versus a demon. and John Constantine. So there are 3 all-new stories in here. Spectre in Shop of Nightmares, Gentleman Ghost in Child of the Night. This was actually done by, doesn't say in here, I think this was done by David Keith, like co-creator for Lobo. I felt like it just wasn't that good. I have to complain about this big time. It's Gentleman Ghost. This could have been, like, well, the way that this story started off and the solicit for it was so good. Here's this little girl who's running away from, you know, people who are trying to hurt her or kill her because she witnessed a crime. She walks into a house, happens to be occupied by Gentleman Ghost. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, there's such a great setup here, because you can't put a label on Gentleman Ghost. Is he a villain? Is he a hero? Is he an anti-hero? What is he? You can't put, of all the characters in the creation of comic books, it's hard to put a label on somebody like Gentleman Ghost. He's just as likely to kill you as he is to help you out. That's who this character is. You know what I'm saying? So I dig the Gentleman Ghost a lot. Hawkman enemy. There's a quick Hawkman reference in here, underhanded reference, and I loved it. But the way that the book turned out, first of all, like, the words that are using, the black people have to talk like, yo, what you doing? What you doing, yo? It's like, dude, that all black people don't talk like that. What the hell are we reading here? What are you writing? What am I reading in this comic book here? Did not like that. And even if you put that aside, just the idea that the story turned out the way that it did, I expected the gist of what happened. I did not expect it to just, it just kind of fell apart. It was just, there were silly parts that shouldn't have been serious, and it ended in a way where it's like, well, I just ran out of pages. I did not like this. Did not like that story at all. The John Constantine, the Ghost Inside, that's all new. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stories in here that are not new. Batman and Gorehound, Superman and Strange Visitor, Wonder Woman and Dead Man in A Night to Remember, Katana and Black Lightning in Mercy Killing, Green Lantern in Blackest Day, and Zatanna in Halloween Hayride. These were, you know, for the most part, these were good stories. A lot of them are rehashed stories. Some of them are stories that are rehashed that I'd never actually read before, which is great because it's a good way to actually get people into characters or stories or books that they otherwise wouldn't have been. It's a great way to have people go back and support their local comic book stores or subscribe to the DC streaming service in order to get their hands on those back issues of comic books that they otherwise haven't read before. There's another 100-page giant that came out this week, and that is the Aquaman one, and I can honestly say this was really good. The very first story in here blew me away, man. It was really good. So Aquaman in Double Edged. They don't have who made all these stories in the beginning, so I actually have to hunt and find all of these. Crap. I got to give credit where credit's due for this one. Steve Orlando wrote this first story, The Double Edged, and it was Black Manta versus Aquaman. Really good story, my peeps. Really good story. Marv Wolfman did this second story, which pretty good. Breathless, it's called. Really good. All right, not as good as the first story, but still, like the way that it ended and everything like that, pretty cool. I liked it. It shows how smart Aquaman is. So 2 all new stories, and then 3 older stories. There's Aquaman and Throne of Atlantis prologue. That was Jeff Johns. There was Mira in Queen of Exile. I think that was Jurgens, if I remember correctly. And then Teen Titans, The Rise of Aqualad Part 1. That'll get you to go back and start reading some good stuff up in here. Anyway, this was a good... I love that they got... I don't know if that's actually supposed to be Topo or not, that octopus there. But in my mind, that's Topo. So yeah, I'm a huge Aquaman mark. I loves me some Aquaman. Anything with that. Like, I mean, I'm madly in love with Mira. Like, I would fight Aquaman for the hand of Mira. I'm just saying. But yeah, loves me some Aquaman. So for me to like this book, I'm not one of those fans who just says, you know, oh, anything that they do, oh, it's good. No, I disagree. I was probably one of the biggest critics of the Aquaman movie before it came out because I didn't want it to suck. Turns out it was actually pretty good. That being said, this was a good book. This was a genuinely good book. Okay, Safe Sex, issue number 2. I bought this because I thought I was going to be doing a Pornhub review on it. I don't have a Pornhub review up this week because this didn't deserve to be in the Pornhub review. There was no nudity in this. There was nothing really salacious about it whatsoever. This was nothing. This was literally nothing. It's called Safe Sex, and there's censored stuff all over. And here's this girl who was in she goes to work in a brothel, and her husband was kidnapped. This guy who actually cares about her, and she apparently cares nothing about. And there's the party, which is obviously supposed to represent the Republicans, you know what I'm saying? The conservatives, more specifically. And they hamper down on sex work and stuff like that, and anything considered a perversion. And it's like, dude, but like the husband gets kidnapped by the party because of both of their sex stuff, and she goes back and she's trying to talk to the sex worker she works for, but that chick is still mad at her because she was able to escape and blames her for bringing them there. And it's like, dude, is this really what? And then at the end, all of a sudden she just shows up. It's like, okay, I'm on your side. And it's like, we just had 2 whole entire books of this girl hating on her, like without any reason. And then the very final page is like, okay, it's all forgiven. Let's work on. No, I'm sorry. Look, maybe, I don't know if this is really the way that women act. I think this was done by Tina Horn. Tina Horn is the name of the person who did this. So I guess I'm going to assume the gender of this person. I believe it's a female who's making this book. But like, if a guy were to make this book, we would, myself included, I'd be all over and be like, this isn't how women act. This ain't how women act. Women don't sit there with this old bitchcraft thing talking about freaking, I'm going to imagine some slight that you did because I feel like being mad. That's not the way that women act. So I'm going to say the same thing, even though a person named Tina, a typically female name, wrote this. Like, this is not the way that women act. Like, this was just such a stupid book. Thank you. I now no longer have to get this book anymore. You're saving my money. This didn't feel real in any way. That if you're going to have some kind of super dystopian future, and especially sex is the biggest thing, not politics, not finances or anything like that. Sex is the big, no in the future. You've got to have this rooted in some kind of reality, and the characters don't feel like real humans at all. So I could honestly care less. Okay, Tini Howard writing the first annual for Doctor Strange. It's going to be the only one because they're switching this book to Doctor Strange Surgeon Supreme. I think next week. That first issue comes out sometime this month. That first issue is supposed to come out. This is Tini Howard. I'm usually just not a fan of Tini Howard. I've expressed that before. And I got to be honest, like I started reading through this, and like Agatha Harkness is in this, which was pretty cool. You got Dr. Voodoo is in this. Who else? Scarlet Witch is in this, and Talisman is in this. Finally, now I come to the page where they're all in it. And and what's this girl's name? Zelda, I think it is. Yeah, I don't remember. Anyway, these characters are in it on this page. And it's like, whatever, man. It is what it is. I read the first maybe 4 pages. It didn't catch me, so I flipped through the rest of the pages. I think I'm really over Tini Howard at this point. Yeah, I just can't. Gonna have to keep on reading Excalibur because some important stuff is going to be happening here. This is the magical connection to everything. But I remember even suggesting in here that the magic in here seems like someone who understands a little bit about magic. I mean, you're talking to a guy who, there's going to be a bunch of super hardcore conservatives who aren't going to like hearing this, but I actually belong to the OTO, the Ordine Templari Orientis, which was founded by Aleister Crowley. I've read everything Israel Regardie has ever written in regards to the Golden Dawn, which Crowley belonged to. I've met and shaken hands with the founder of Wicca. You know what I'm saying? And I used to, have some really good, raunchous times in boot camp with basic training, I should say, with a bunch of Wiccans who I knew in when we would all go to mass together on Sundays. I'm just saying, I know a little something about the occult, and this is so fantastical that it's just, there are things that I think she tries to ground, and I feel like either she's really good at disguising everything, or this is worse than anything I've ever picked up in Llewellyn's books. Anybody who's familiar with the New Age section, I don't know anymore, but I haven't shopped in the New Age section forever. But they used to have the Llewellyn's books on magic, which anybody who read anything beyond Llewellyn would realize right away, this is all horse crap. And I feel like she is the master of Llewellyn's stuff. It's like, this is just, it's hokey. It doesn't make sense. Anyway. Nightwing Annual #2. Jurgens on this, right? Yep, Dan Jurgens on this. This was really good. I know there's a lot of people who aren't a huge fan of the Nightwing's stuff right now with the Rick Grayson thing. This is kind of a prequel that he had done. It is Jurgens doing this. It's like before this, I think Liddell was on this. I know Nycesia, whatever. I always call him Nycesia. His name sounds like a sneeze. What do you call it? One of the credited co-creator for Deadpool, even though a lot of controversy around that one. Anyway, and he was a jerk to me on YouTube, so screw you, Nycesia. Yeah, anyway, so bang, there was this, and it's not going to gel with a lot of what had already happened with the Rick Grayson story. I read this more as a fixing of some of the stuff that happened in there that Nycesia was writing, which was just lazy, which was just painfully lazy. This, yeah, I just look at this as a correction of a lot of stuff. So while some people may say, no, it doesn't make sense because it doesn't mesh with stuff over there, well, the stuff over there didn't mesh in the first place and nobody liked it. So this kind of fixes a lot of that stuff, and I appreciated that. Good book. You know what was an amazing book that I wish I would have done an individual review for? Savage Avengers. I think it was issue 4, 5, and 6, especially 5 and 6, didn't really do it for me. Of the whatever it was, issue 4 and 5 didn't really do it for me of Savage Avengers, but this was amazing. This is these three characters. You got Damien Hellstrom, Black Widow, and Conan, and they're breaking up a sex trade operation. They have a couple of things about Hellstrom specifically. They have him own a horse named Iblis. Good job, Jerry Duggan. Jerry Duggan of Deadpool fame, but also of the Infinity Countdown fame. So double negative there, positive, negative, whatever. Anyway, he has a horse named Iblis. That is really cool. Anybody who speaks Arabic knows Iblis is the word for Satan. So in Arabic, so that was cool. I like seeing stuff like that. He also speaks in Latin a lot in here. He says burn. Let me look up I don't want to try and find the comic book again. Here, let me let me see if I can, here, listen to this. Adule Bitque. That's the How to Pronounce website. That is how you say burn. The exact translation for that is burn. So Abdule Quite, whatever it is, that is the Latin word for burn. So the guy so Hellstrom is surprised at one point. Somebody comes up to like shoot him, and he turns and looks at him and just says, Abdule Quite. Whatever it is. Abdule Quite. 5 syllables. That's like refrigerator. You know what I'm saying? Like, you literally said 5 syllables as opposed to the 1 syllable burn. Really? Like, come on, man. Aside from that one moment, though, this was a fantastic book. Wow, this was good. This got deep, and I loved it. And it played Conan the way that he was meant to be played. Yes, he is, like, there's going to be a bunch of people who will say they don't like Conan as he's got that toxic masculinity. No, Conan has actual masculinity, not toxic masculinity. Believe me, I've seen plenty of toxic masculinity when it comes to a bunch of super comic book nerds, actually usually called comic skaters. Deal with it, haters. You know, women this and women that. Dude, try harder to get laid. You won't think like that. Anyway, I've seen lots of like Conan in this. Jerry Duggan really does get Conan, all right? He's tough as nails. He wants to go in and sleep with a prostitute, but he realizes that she's a slave. And he's like, oh, she doesn't actually want to sleep with me. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter. She's up there. You paid for her. You can go up and have her. But she doesn't want to sleep with me. You know what I'm saying? She's a slave. I'm not interested in forcing myself upon something. Conan has never, ever committed rape before. There was one book. I can't remember what it was called. Was it something with the Frost Giant, Tales of the Frost Giant's Daughter, I think it was, where he's really delirious and he's thinking or trying to rape this girl. He doesn't actually do it. But even then, like, fans went ballistic over the actual fans of Conan went ballistic. It's like Conan would never rape someone. And it's true. It's true. That was written so horribly. You know what I'm saying? Totally out of character for him. So here, this is very much in character for Conan. Yeah, he'll sleep with a prostitute. Who cares? If she's actually into it. But she wasn't. He realized right away she's a sex worker. Now, does he have a problem with slavery? Conan kills slavers, while at the same time, he's not the kind of guy who's going to have necessarily a problem with slavery. Because, well, slavery not according to colonization slavery, which is very different. I know this is controversial to a lot of people. But like the way that Conan is written, slavery is a thing where it comes from. He's not out to freaking stop everybody, you know, in the world from being bad. Here, he talks about how, oh, I've killed plenty of slavers, but the idea of doing it for money actually, you know, it makes me more enthusiastic to do it. He says that in this. Cool. I'm down with that. I'm totally down with that. It's a decent modern world update on who Conan actually is. So I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Conan, for the most part, though, while he will break the chains of slavery if slaves are being treated poorly, at the end of the day, he also believes that slavery is not inherently bad if it's done the way that, like, let's say the African nations did it, where it's like they'll still be treated with respect. There's still a chance that you could buy your freedom and things like that, as opposed to, oh no, you are permanently this way and we're going to beat the crap out of you and tear you down and refuse to educate you and stuff like that. That's a completely, like, the American ideal of what slavery is, not ideal. The impression of what slavery is based on the American idea, there should practically be a different word for that. You know what I'm saying? Because, wow, the slavery done in Africa, radically different, you know, back in the day than, yeah. So this was, again, probably really controversial words. You're free to leave the channel. Otherwise, actually learn something from history. And even from cultural history in the form of Conan. Robert E. Howard had a great handle on life, a really solid handle on life. And he wrote this amazing, actual masculine character. True masculinity, not that toxic masculinity stuff. You want to understand who Conan is without going back and reading a lot of those old novels? This is a great way to do it. That's no lie. Let's knock out Wonder Woman Annual, number 3. I had problems reading this book. I think this is also Steve Orlando. Yep, also Orlando. What do you call it? This was not bad. This was not bad. It ended great. Okay, I had different problems with the book as the book was going on, but then it rectified those problems almost immediately afterwards. Wonder Woman is caught in a horrible situation where Argus does something completely wrong. They just committed crimes of spying and like, wow, got an asset captured. They did horrible, terrible, stupid things. While at the same time, she's going up against Gorilla Grodd, who's in charge of the Gorilla Nation. Dude, I'm just saying, Gorilla City. That's a big deal. So she's caught right in the middle of that. There is no right move. And Wonder Woman has to try and be diplomatic and smart while also being a badass, you know, son of a gun who could take a sucker down. That was not an easy thing to write. And yet somehow Orlando, like, I'm still a bit, you know, twisted in regards to this book. It ended in a good way considering what the situation was that Orlando put her in. This was a no-win situation that she still wound up coming out, I wouldn't say on top, but at least she didn't get filthy with the rest of the pigs. So this was a really, really well-written book, and don't even get me started on that great art. Contagion issue number 5. I couldn't think of 5 things to say about this book, so I didn't do a 5 things about, so I didn't do an individual review for this. This was a pretty good way to end the book. It was really just mostly about Moon Knight figuring things out in a way that none of us are really going to understand, and everything gets rectified and leaves it open that anything can happen from this point on. It wasn't the best ending. And I always say if you can't stick an ending, the whole book was useless. And I don't feel like that was necessarily stuck. It was more of a platitude, that ending. Whatever. Jason Aaron, The Final Fate of Conan the Barbarian. I didn't do a review on this because I would have just hated on the whole book. This was actually pretty decent, but at the end of the day, The Final Fate of Conan, sure. But then it says to be continued at the end of the book. Dude, that's not the way that you write a damn story. You don't sit there and lie and say, you know, the final fate of Conan and, you know, to be continued. Anyway, that is the dOOKIE-fAT-sTACK for the week. That's the bulk comics review for the 30th of October, the comic books that came out that Wednesday, the 30th of October, 2019. And yeah, back to the grind. All right, guys, I'm done. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Make sure you like and share this video. Follow me on Twitter, all right? I don't even do a lot on Twitter, but you know what? Honestly, from me to you, I want the status of having a lot of Twitter followers, all right? That's what I want. Nothing else to it. I want a whole lot of Twitter followers. So, if you would be so kind as to go to @comicbookuni on Twitter, you find a link in the description box, I would appreciate that. From my heart. Thank you. Love you guys. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.